What's going on today?
Hey Scott, how's everything going down there?
Ah, it's nice. It's almost like summer down here this week.
Don't rub it in. As you know, I'm from Canada, so it's pretty cold up here still.
Yep.
All right, guys. So welcome. Just kind of go through the intro screen here. As Scott was saying, both Jamie and Steve are taking a little bit of personal time, so just figured I would hop in and do a little guest hosting. Start off first with the disclaimer, just to keep compliance happy. Basically saying that Trade Ideas is a publisher. And you understand that no content is recommendations to buy or sell. If you want that type of thing, seek out a registered financial advisor, investment advisor. Deal with the professionals for that type of thing. Just quickly go through. Here's the webinars that are usually going on. Again, you're in office hours, which is usually with Jamie and Steve, but me for today. Trade of the week tomorrow with Steve and Andy. And then you have your Q&A and Andy Studio, and then Friday support webinar. So my plan today, and a lot of this is going to be Q&A just because didn't have too much planned, is basically go over kind of my general thoughts of the market right now and go a little bit into Brokerage Plus and some stuff that we're doing with it, new things like that, show basic setup and use. We have some videos on this already, and we're building some more educational content to come out soon, but just for people who are interested, maybe you're planning on getting into the test drive and you wanted to play with Brokerage Plus there, this could be a good little resource that we can point people to just to show how to basically set up and get started with Brokerage Plus. I'm going to keep an eye on the questions panel, so feel free to ask questions as we go, because this is going to be a little bit less structured than normally, but hopefully still very educational. So, just quickly seeing what happened in the market today. Still a whole lot of nothing. So, everybody was wide awake during this sell-off here, and as we bounced and hit this resistance area, or prior support, that's now resistance, we've just kind of been chopping around here. And really, it's not unexpected. A lot of people were expecting a hit of prior support that's now resistance and just falling completely out of bed, but without any sort of news catalyst behind that. I kind of think this chop is interesting. If you just look at this prior action as kind of a bull bear type of fight, you can see that we're kind of smack dab in the middle of that, with really nobody having the advantage. The only thing that I thought was interesting to note is that the relatively strong. So if you keep an eye on this window up here, this is part of my nightly scan where I like to go through and I like to see where is strength in these few indices lie and where is weakness. We saw that XLF is a bit of strength. The Q's not doing quite as well, but still doing pretty good. So I guess if you guys don't know who I am, because if you just go to these webinars, I'm guest hosting, so I'm not usually here. So I'll just kind of give you a little overview of that, where Andy and Steve and Jamie, these are all good traders and good technical analysts. I do a bit of that as well. I've been trading for about 12 years, prop trading and a little bit of hedge fund work. My main focus, however, is using the back tester, using Brokerage Plus to automate and semi-automate my trading. So that's mainly what we're going to be talking about today, where how you can use this new tool that we're really putting a lot of development force and effort into to kind of accelerate your trading a little bit further than it is, where even the best traders out there with the right tool in their hand could definitely step that up a fair amount. So if you're new to Brokerage Plus, just an overview of exactly what it is. We connect to interactive brokers through their trader workstations API, which is just a back way into accessing a program where you can send orders directly to Interactive Brokers from our software, as well as managing stops, viewing your orders, doing some analysis on risk reward, on your profit for the day, as well as charting your equity curve throughout the day. So really, if you are an Interactive Brokers client and a Trade Ideas client, then there's really no reason to not be using this tool, because although you can fully automate trading, you can actually semi-automate it as well. And that's kind of where we're going to start, where you can send your own orders from it, or you can actually set up little entry scripts that will send orders, put out stop losses, take profits, all without any sort of interaction on your behalf. So first of all, to get to the module, it's simply under New, and you'll have to go to Brokerage Plus. You won't have all this crazy stuff down here, but just down to Brokerage Plus here. And it will open up a window that looks like this. So this is connected to a demo account right now so that I can show you guys through it without giving out my account numbers or anything to that respect. And I entered one position just to kind of show you what it would look like. So I entered into this home, which anybody who follows me on my channel, which is over at youtube.com/Bonpara, and I'll just type that in later. Basically what I do is one of my trading strategies I go through every week, and I use Trade Ideas to find stocks that interest me. And then from there, I have plugged them into Brokerage Plus and I have them traded automatically. So this is one that was entered today in my real account, so I just entered it in this paper account so that I can kind of show you guys how it works. So essentially, here's the module. To connect, right, it's simply hit your connected button, and you can either disconnect or hit connect and decide whether you're going to be paper trading or live trading that day. After that, when you hit connect, that's it, right? You're now connected to Trader Workstation, which I have open right down here from IB. There are some settings that you can go through here. I'll show you just real quick. And if we go down to API settings, which is what we're interested in, because that's how we're connecting to, you can see that basically everything here will be pretty standard. If anyone has IB and they're playing along at home, the only things that you really have to pay attention to is under precautions here is you need to make sure that you allow access to Brokerage Plus to pass orders through. And once you do that, it's just as simple as I showed you there, where you just hit connect and away you go. So after that, basically everything you can do inside Trader Workstation, you can do from this platform. And then the beauty of that is that integrates very well with Trade Ideas. So just a quick overview of how this sets up and how this works. You can see these tabs along the top that will give you certain bits of information depending on your trading style and what it is you're looking for and what it is you want to see. Each of these can be broken out into separate windows if you have a large amount of screen real estate and you want to see everything at once, or they can just kind of be displayed as in tabs there. This first tab called Strategies is where you're going to input your strategies, whether they're going to be automated trades or semi-automated trades, a way for you to click inside Trade Ideas and take a trade. You can see I added a couple here. This one is a fully automated strategy, and the other two here are entry scripts, I like to call them, or the things that you right-click to enter the orders, and we'll go through those in a moment. Here you can enable and disable the strategies. If you had a lot of different strategies, but you only wanted to run certain ones on certain days based off the market or the SPY movement that day or anything like that, you can enable and disable them here. You can also run the statistics right from this button here, where if you wanted to see how this particular strategy you loaded in worked over time, just by clicking that button, it will take a moment here, and then it will show, you'll be able to see the odds maker results on how that trade would have worked based off your criteria. We'll come back, take a look at that in a second. Next tab here is positions. So a lot of information here. you can see your P&L today. Down here, if this was trading throughout the day, which I just turned it on for this webinar, it would give you a little equity curve graph of the day, which is a very powerful tool I'm starting to learn, because I'm learning, even after trading for 10 years, more things about my trading, where I'm noticing time of day correlations. There's certain times of day that I seem to do well. I'm able to visually see that, okay, maybe my P&L is hit a high for the day and it's starting to pull back, time to exit out. As well as you can see some vital statistics as well. So what's your win percentage today, right? What's your average win-loss today? You can see all this information right from this screen at a quick glance to kind of judge yourself. Or if you're a fully automated trader, which I'm mostly, you can see the statistics of the strategies and how well they're lining up with your back test. From here, you can see the trades that you have going on. You can add and remove pretty much any column that you see fit through here, where you can, see how many shares you bought or sold, or what account they're linked to, target price, stop loss, a lot of information here you can see. I like to know how much I'm up or down on the position in like dollar terms, as well as what the last price is. Over to the right-hand side here, there's a lot of quick buttons just for quick trading. Your flatten button will get you out of any position that you have highlighted. So if we highlighted this position and hit flatten, it would cancel any corresponding orders. At the same time, it's going to send a market order to get you entirely out of your position. The 1/2 button will do the same, where it will take whatever half of your position is, get you out of that, and then adjust all corresponding orders by half as well. Double, something's working out for you very well, and you want to double down on that. Just clicking this button will do that. Reverse will turn longs to shorts and shorts to long. And limit out, so I can click on this button here and I can click limit out. And any of the stocks I have selected, either one stock or a handful, if you're trading a basket, you can then say, okay, I want to set the price 5 cents above the bid, or cents above the bid, or whatever you would like. So this is really useful when you're in a large amount of positions that you're trying to manage quickly. So, I've been doing some of the testing of auto trading Holly, which I've shown on the channel as well. And when you're doing that, you're in a lot of positions at once, and maybe the SPY is really ripping up. So you want to highlight all of your longs, which you can do just by clicking the long button here, and then limit them out a little bit above the market. Try to capture a little bit of spread. And then maybe the SPY pulls back and you want to do the same with your short. So these are great buttons to manage these individual positions here. Right-clicking on any position will give you the ability to trade it. You can modify your stop order. You can just click here if you want to move your stop order to break even, and you can tighten it and loosen it as you see fit. You can add a time stop to say, get me out by the end of the day, or in an hour, or whatever you'd like. This is great for if you're going to leave your desk. What I like to do is pick anything that I intend only to be a day trade. And if I'm going to leave my desk and go do something, I can say, come hell or high water, regardless of whether I've been stopped out or not, just get me out of here by the end of the day. You can also add target orders, and you can assign it to different strategies you have going on here. Down here, you just simply have like this. You simply have your traditional kind of order entry style window, where you can buy or sell. You can pick your shares, your price, or your symbol, which will change when you click around the software. It will adjust that as well. Price, you can click on the price and pick any of these price that are near here. You're seeing that the ask is up here and the bid's down here. Market's closed, that's why that's so wide. Or you can put in a market price. And then if you wanted to make it a stop order, you can add the stop parameters in here as well. So here's your kind of quick entry to enter orders as well. And then the rest of this is kind of to manage the positions you're in. Over here is just your account tab. It will just tell you things like your buying power, the account value, realized and unrealized profit for the day. You know, if you're with Interactive Brokers and you have multiple accounts, they would all be listed here, and you can manage them all individually. It's something that I do a fair amount, where I have my it's an RRSP account up here. It's I think it's the equivalent to your guys' IRA account, or you know, some sort of retirement account, as well as a couple day trading accounts for different strategies. Messages, this is technical, and I don't even really understand it that much, but it's just a way to put in words everything that's happened within the software. So if you do need any support, this is a great thing to send us. Here's going to be all your outstanding orders. You can see all of the orders that I've done today. So if I go all statuses, since I've started this, I've only put in this one stop order. You can filter this by live, not live, filled, partly filled. Quick way to go through and see your trading. And then this summary here will just show some basic statistics on your trading. So what's your profit on the day, open closed, right? Exposure. So we're exposed long by $2,200. We took one trade for 200 shares. And if we had short, it would be listed right here, and then just a nice little total just to see where you're at. It's a good way to see, if you're in a lot of positions, kind of what your exposure is, either long or short. So how do you actually enter trades when something is alerted to you? So say you're trading, or you're clicking, you want to trade one of these symbols, this guy here. You'll notice that as soon as you have Brokerage Plus activated and connected to IB, anywhere you right click on something, this trade thing becomes not gray anymore and actually tradable. So from here, you can set up different ways to get in and out of stocks. If you're the kind of person who wants to buy on a market and you want to assign a certain percentage of your capital to each account, you can do that. If you want to risk a certain amount on every trade and have that calculated for you, no problem, you can do that too, and I'll show you that in a second. There's some people who just want to trade a constant share size. They trade 200 shares and they want to risk 30 cents a trade. You can set all of that up just so that if you right click anywhere that you see the symbol within Trade Ideas, you can just quickly place that trade. So one of the reasons we built this is we were getting a lot of people out there who may be trading at work. No judgment here. I used to do that for 10 years or so. You know, maybe they're just doing other things. They have other side things going on. And it got hard to take advantage of a lot of the faster moving plays out there. So people were building these great scans, but not able to enter as quickly as they wanted, or they were making kind of a lot of human errors when it came to calculating their stop losses, and, you know, taking trades too big or too small, or, you know, we've all been there where you take 10 trades that day and 5 of them you calculated everything perfect and they worked out, and then the one that you calculated your stop loss wrong, that's the one that gets hit and really puts a sour note on your day. So you can trade all of that through here. You can right click on the chart and you can see all of this trading as well. And this will all send orders directly to this window, which will send them then to Interactive Brokers. So when you want to set up one of those scripts, you can open up the Strategies tab, right click, and you can either load from cloud if you have something built, or you can actually just go and create a new strategy. So this buy the dip BTD strategy that I put in here, we ran the statistics of earlier. So I can actually go and I can show these odds maker result, and you can see that this is the strategy in through here. Now, before people ask, I unfortunately cannot share this. It has a fair amount of custom formulas in it, but stay tuned. This might be entering Holly in the next week or so. But I can see how this strategy performed using the stop losses, the profit targets, the whole time, these type of things. I can see how it performed using those criterias over the last little bit. And if it's acceptable to me, then I can enter it. So I got this from a cloud link. So if I wanted to add another strategy in from my cloud, I can click load, and what do we have going on here that's interesting? So let's add this one in here. So I added a strategy for my cloud, and it's going to then add to an existing thing, and you can see the new strategy is right out here. Now, how it will populate all of the trading criteria is from your actual back test. So let's actually load that. So if we backtest this strategy, you can see that there's certain entry exit criteria. It's a 15-minute long hold. It has these stop and profit targets. We're backtesting for this certain period of time. So if we take a look and we actually look at these two stop loss and profit targets, which are both customs that I built, and then we actually go in and by right-clicking on the strategy, we edit it, you can see that that stop loss and that profit target have been entered in the system as well. So it pulls from your most recent backtest on your alert window, and it's able to populate those right in the system. So if you're in there and you're backtesting and you're playing and you're trying to build a strategy and you get something that looks really good and you want to trade it, you're able to do that pretty much right away just by adding that directly into the system. So say you're not really interested in automated trading, but you do want to speed up your trading by being able to do what I was talking about, by seeing a symbol, realizing that you like it, right-clicking and taking the trade. You can do that, and I've built a couple here. You can do that just by right-clicking and hit New Trading Strategy, and you have all the options in the world here. So this looks a little bit confusing, guys, but we'll go through it pretty quick, and it's pretty simple. First, you just got to name it. Just call it test. You can assign which accounts you would like it to. So again, if you're someone who trades multiple accounts, you can do that. I know some people out there who will have mirrored accounts where maybe they're trading their own account and they have the secondary account they also want to take those trades in, but a little bit smaller. Or they have different accounts entirely. There's, if you have retirement accounts or something, you can only do certain things in them, where you can do lots of other trading in different accounts. So essentially, you can change all that here. You can go through and see what time you want to initiate trades or end trades. Got to adjust for my time frame here on the East Coast. You can say send order only once a day for the symbol. You can put limits on how many trades you actually want to take. And then we get to the interesting stuff here where your position sizing can be automatically calculated by trade ideas. And I can't stress enough as a trader how important this is. Picking the right direction on a trade is, sexy and fun, and it's great to hit that trade and know that you were right. But in the long run, that being right isn't the thing that makes a trader. What makes a trader is that risk management, the risk reward profile based off of how much you trade. The best traders out there can get by and do very well with a 55% win rate. But how they do that is they make sure that their risk is very, very consistent, and that every now and then when they have a great trade, they have a great trade. But it's making that consistent risk. So there's a couple different options you'll see here where it's fixed dollars, fixed shares based on stop loss. It's fair. The first two are fairly straightforward. Fixed dollars, say you have a $25,000 account and you want to be able to take 5 trades at a time. You could say, okay, $5,000 per trade, right? That's what I'm going to put in. And that's kind of the size that I like to feel comfortable with. And what it's going to do is it's going to say, okay, well, you're trying to buy a stock at this price. Let me take that and divide that price by 5,000, and that's how many shares I'm going to buy you. Just to make sure that you're in that ballpark, obviously plus or minus slippage. fixed shares. If you just want to say, okay, I'm a 300 share trader, that's what I trade. You can just go do that, and then every time you right click and send this order, it's just going to automatically send 300 shares without you having to fill out an order box. For me, where the power really lies is you can go in and say, I want to do all of my trading based off stop loss. I want to do $150 is what I want to risk on every trade. I think it's very important for traders to make it very consistent how much you're going to risk. It's like the old adage of boiling that frog by putting it in cold water and slow temperature, and it doesn't really notice. So where people get upset, where people have their emotions take over, is usually after an unexpectedly large loss. So doing something like this, what the system's going to do is it's going to say, okay, I think the person is going to enter in roughly at this price, say $10, and they're going to risk $1.50 on this trade. So they're going to risk down to $8.50. Well, I know that, so then I'm going to take 100 shares, because then if that stop gets hit, that person loses $150. And just that simple technique of being able to say, I know, and I say this personally, I know personally on every single trade I take, plus or minus slippage or any sort of crazy black swan event, I'm going to have a very consistent risk profile. And then below that, you've got how you're going to do your entry. Stop limit, market. These are all pretty consistent things that you will see just from trading, basically. So we're focusing in here, and then this is something that I really got to talk to you guys about. So this limit offset, essentially what a limit offset is how much plus or minus the current market price do you want to send your order. So say you're trading that same stock that's valued at $10. If you set a limit offset that's negative and you're buying, you're saying, I want to be aggressive, right? So don't think of this in terms of long or short. Think about it as passive or aggressive. So a -2 is going to send out an order and say, I want $10.02 or less, right? I don't want to pay any more than that. That's it. Now, if you were shorting this $10 stock, still with a limit of -0.02, it's going to say, send me out an order for $9.98 to short or better, right? So I don't want to pay more than that. This is really the way to enter stocks where, market orders can really give you a hard time if it gets illiquid or if the spread opens up or the stock gets halted. There's all kinds of things that can happen in a market type of order situation. Limit orders, you're going to get the price you were aiming for plus 2 cents or 2 cents on the way down, or you're not going to get it. And that's a better situation to be in than to be in a market type situation. From here, you just fill out your stop loss. All right, you can risk 2% or 3% or whatever you want on a percentage basis. You can do dollars. And then you can also do based off filters, which again looks a little bit daunting, but it's certainly easy to figure out, where if you wanted to, for example, risk to the low. So we're going to buy this stock. We're going to put the stop at the low of the day. And then the brokerage plus is going to do that math and say, okay, well, if he buys here and puts his stop at the low of the day, this is the amount of shares that you should take. So that risk is $150. You could do some percentage of average true range. If you wanted to take what the average true range is of the day and say, I'm going to risk that. If it goes outside of that, then there's really no reason for me to be in it. You can do that as well. Same thing with targets, percentage, dollars, or any filter you come up with. Just to show you how crazy you can get, these formulas can be built with our custom formula section, which is maybe something that I'll do a little bit later, or another webinar, where you could set variables if you want it. You could say, okay, if the stock price is here, put a stop here. If the stock price is here, put a price here. It's really how deep you want to go down the rabbit hole. But the beauty of this is it just really speeds up the moment that you get an alert that you want to trade until you actually take the trade. The amount of work you have to do as a person is completely eliminated. So it allows your brain to do the creative stuff that we want to do as traders, where you're looking at the chart, and you're marking support, resistance, and it frees it up from doing kind of the monotonous type work. From there, there's the same for trailing stop, and then time exits. So how long do you want to hold this? If you just want to manage your own exit, you can just hit none. You can go in and say at a certain time of day. So, maybe a couple minutes before the close. Again, if you're in that situation where you're taking these trades and, maybe you're have to go to a meeting or you just don't want to sit in front of the computer all day. If you do this, then at the end of the day, if you're still in a position, it will send out a market order to get you out, as well as canceling any orders that are out there for you. You can do it a couple minutes after the entry, or you can do it at market open or close a couple days from now if it's a swing trade. For example, if earnings are in a couple days and you want to make sure you're out before that, you can say at the close before earnings, get me out. Once this is all filled in and you hit OK, the next time you click on any of your symbols, you will be able to take buy using test, which is what we just put in here. So we know that this, if we put a little bit better description in it, would try to buy this stock, IBB, that we have open here now, at whatever price it's currently at, plus 2 cents. It would put the stop at the low of the day, and it would do that math for us to make sure everything is properly calculated. So that's kind of basic setup. It's basic use. I know I'm a little bit short, but I think what I'm going to do now is really just open it up to questions about really anything. Brokerage Plus, about myself, my trading, who I am, why I'm different than why I'm here as opposed to the guys that you're normally looking at. So now's the time to kind of post your questions here. So the first one is, would you please explain the smart stop? So smart stop's a bit proprietary math, but I'll give away most of it, where it's essentially looking at the last kind of 15 minutes range, and it's looking at the volume. And it's basically saying, okay, if you have a super long range, put in a higher stop value than if you have a super short range. So the smart stop is basically adapting based off of, what's happening in the market. So, it's, if you just say, I want to risk 10 cents a trade, that's going to be valid if you're trading a really slow moving cheap stock, but it's not going to be valid in a very aggressive, expensive stop. So what we tried to do is try to take something that adapted a little bit to your stop. So the exact math is, I think, a pretty closely guarded secret, but just think about it like that. The other thing to note is it has a minimum of 25 cents and a maximum of 75 cents. So it will never send out a stop loss for a penny, and it will never send out a stop loss for, $20 or something like that. That's something that could kind of get into people into trouble. So we avoided that entirely. The next question is, if you're using based off stop loss, you have to specify a stop loss, not a trailing stop. That is correct for now. Eventually, we're going to add things in like being able to trail below moving averages, or say a bar reversal. Say, okay, when a 15-minute bar breaks its, the current 15-minute bar breaks the previous 15-minute bar's low, get me in there or get me out there. So this is still in beta, just out of beta. This is the same module that you will be trading if you want to auto trade Holly. So if that's something that interests you, you can now just go to our website and purchase the Brokerage Plus license. We made a couple more available. There's still a limit to them. So I would, if you're interested, I would act before we pull that down. And that one-time cost and your premium subscription is all you need. It makes sense, even though auto trading of Holly is not fully done and not released, to start playing with the program so that when we turn it on, you're ahead of the curve. You already have some understanding of how to use this tool, because again, it's not the easiest thing in the world. So you have another question here. So in essence, I can use this to scalp a stock repeatedly. Yeah, 100%. You can use strategies that trade from 1 to a couple hundred times a day. Now, it's not set up for high frequency trading, right? It's not set up for scalping a bid and ask over and over again. We're not really a program for that. We're more of an alpha hunting program than that. But throughout the day, I'll trade and reverse. Sometimes you're in a position. I'm trying to think of a trade that I had today. Was it Cron? Yeah, it was Cron, where a discretionary trade that I took today. I was watching this on 15-minute bars, and I took a little short on this 15-minute bar reversal here. So I quickly, without having to think about it, was able to punch up my strategy that shorted me in through here, put my stop at the high of the day, and then put a profit target to get out kind of right before the 8. So it came out and it hit my profit target, and that did well. But then when I saw the strength come back in, I saw it touch highs, pull back, and then get strong again. I was able just to punch back in using a different strategy. If I was still in a bit of this, I could have hit reverse and say I was short 100 shares. I could have bought into 100 shares and got a bit of that move. Sometimes, flipping within a stock, flip-flopping is the best thing you can do. There's many, many times where I was wrong in a position and just got out. Whereas if I was wrong in a position, got out, flipped my trade, I would have made back the loss in the first position, plus a nice profit. So certainly you can use it to scalp. You can use it to swing trade as well. I know many people who look to swing trade. Not showing up on this particular charts right now, but one thing that we have added is a little red line that will show your stop on the chart, right? It's just a little line that comes out like this that you can actually drag and pull and move around the chart. So if you're looking to, trail a stop up below lows or something, you can quickly grab the stop loss and just drag it. So it's good for scalping, and it's good for swing trading all the same. All right, guys, I will leave this open for a couple more questions. And if not, I'll throw it back to Scott. So any more questions, definitely feel free to fill them in here. Or maybe I just bored all you guys with all the advanced technical talk. Who knows? Oh, here's a couple. Now they're coming in now. Are we able to drag the stop loss line now? It doesn't work on my version. Yeah, you should have no problem. You just go to the main website and click on the demo, or sorry, the beta. So there's two download links when you go to our website. One is the version that is stable. It's the most sound, which if you're leaving anything for a period of time, then that's probably the one to watch. If it's not, if you're there watching it all the time, we constantly put out new betas. Like, it seems like every week I would go back and I would check that site because there's a new beta with new features. I've really never seen, I've been working with Trade Ideas for a little under a year now, and I've never seen a company just push out new updates as quick as these guys do. So it's really great. So definitely go back and check. I think it's a 0.67 or 0.68 we're up to now, and that should do that for you. So I think we're good to go, Scott, if you're around.
I found the mute button. Yes. Hey, thank you for
So
a great presentation. There's a couple items on the way out of the webinar. Michael contributed. There's a bunch of chapters in this book, Ways to Win in the Post-BTFD Market. Go ahead and download that. It's free if you don't have it already. It's been very timely for this year. It's been a crazy year, so make sure you've got those strategies. Trade-ideas.com/ebook. Put in your email address, and you'll get the download link. We have a podcast that comes out on Fridays. We're just getting the new year going, so we should have a new episode out. You can go advance to the next slide there. For the podcast, you have a new episode out on Friday, so get ready for that by searching for Trade Ideas Podcast in whatever application you listen to podcasts in. And I'm not seeing the slides advance here. Maybe you could get to no, that's fine now. Okay, now you can advance to the test drive. Yeah, so we've got a test drive coming up. It's a great chance to try out Trade Ideas Premium, including the AIs, Holly Neo, Holly 2.0, and have access to Brokerage Plus. If you have interactive brokerage, you can try that out in real time. Trade-ideas.com/test drive is where you go to register for 5 days, 5 full trading days of premium access. And again, that's coming up next week, so get ready for that. There is a discount code. New Office is good this month. Just plug that in when you are when you're signing up for a new subscription. You can also use this for an upgrade. So if you're adjusting your account and changing your subscription plan, you can also plug in New Office all caps and save 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. Any questions, email us info@trade-ideas.com. And you can follow, I should have put it in there, but you can follow Michael Noss on Twitter at Bonpara, Bonpara. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/tradeideiaspro. And again, any questions, send that to our info@tradeideias.com address, because that goes into our help desk software that gets routed to the appropriate person to answer your questions. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, everyone. We'll have a recording up later on tonight or tomorrow morning, and you'll get an email follow-up from GoToWebinar with a link to the playlist where you can find it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Scott. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Later on, guys.